I'm Cara and I'm the inventor of SnoozeShade. Now, you've probably asked a question about whether or not your baby is going to get hotter, which is why I've done this video, because we get asked this question all the time, and it is a very, very valid question. I actually really like it when parents ask about the safety of a baby product and wish they would do it more often. Now, the reason I don't want you to worry is because the fabric that I developed for SnoozeShade is a unique air permeable mesh. It's called EziBreez, and I think the name says what it does, which is it lets air flow through it very easily. Now, this is actually better than breathable. Breathable is a much misused word. People talk about breathability and they think it means about air, and it doesn't. It actually means about the ability of a fabric to wick moisture, which has got nothing to do with airflow. Air permeability is what you're looking for. SnoozeShade fabric has been tested multiple times over the last 15 years, and every single time it comes out as rated highly for air permeability. Now, the reason that I was so obsessed about making sure that the fabric was the right kind of fabric to use started from day one. Before I even invented SnoozeShade, my daughter Holly, who's now 18 years old, but when she was a tiny baby, she had a febrile convulsion. If anyone's ever gone through that as a parent, it's one of the most scary experiences you can possibly go through, and it's related to temperature spiking. The minute she'd had this febrile convulsion, I was absolutely paranoid about her temperature increasing and risking her having another febrile convulsion. So before I even invented SnoozeShade, I consulted the UK's leading thermophysicist who specialised in heat movement and had an MBE for his work. I spoke to him about it before I even launched the product, just to ensure that there was no risk of my fabric increasing the temperature in any way, shape or form. So if you're worried about whether or not the fabric is going to increase the temperature, the answer is no, it will not. However, there are sensible precautions that you need to take when you are exposing your baby to higher temperatures. We always recommend, if you're using a stroller and a SnoozeShade, that you use a stroller fan. Now, that's not because the stroller fan is going to decrease the temperature. It's particularly important when it's humid, because there's no air movement which can wick away sweat from baby, which makes baby feel a lot hotter. A fan will help move the air and helps baby feel more comfortable, not cooler necessarily, but more comfortable. One very important thing to mention about using fans is never to point the fan directly at your baby. It should always be in the area of your baby, not directly at. That's because babies can find it very difficult to regulate their own temperature. The other reason it's so important to shade your babies when it's hot is because it's not just the ambient temperature that is a problem, it's the UV load that is put on your baby's skin. What happens is that by blocking the UV, by using SnoozeShade, you're actually reducing the temperature very slightly, you're reducing the heat load. If you imagine, for example, if I put my hand out into the sun now, my skin feels warm. If I put it into the shade, it feels cooler. Heat out in the sun, shade out of the sun. And that is literally how simple it is. So when you factor in the fact that there is no airflow issue with SnoozeShade, there is no heat issue with SnoozeShade, what it's doing is protecting your baby the best way possible.